So, winter is the best time to start figuring out what exactly you want out of your garden. I sit down with a notebook, I figure out exactly how much space I have to work with. This might be determined by the size of your yard or the amount of your yard that actually gets good sun, or it could be determined by how much you want to grow. If you don't want to get overwhelmed with your garden, if you want to keep it small and easy to manage, that's perfectly fine. Just figure out what your limitations are and start deciding what you want to grow, how much you want to grow. Draw out your garden size, draw out your plots, your different garden beds, if you will. If you were going to use raised beds, get those measurements. I am going with rows straight into the ground, with the exception of a few raised beds that I already have that I want to use. But I have to figure out where those beds are going to go so that they don't throw shade at the plants behind them. So they have to go on the outer edge. You also want to figure out which plants are going to be tallest. You want your taller ones in the back so that everybody gets good sun. You can find a lot of information on the back of the seed packets, though some companies don't put very much information at all on the seed packets. Matter of fact, I have some that I got in a gift pack off of, I think it was bought off of Amazon. It was a Christmas gift, but it was a mix of a whole bunch of different types of herbs and vegetables, and there is no information whatsoever on these packets. There's a picture, and that's it. So I had to do a little bit of research outside of the packet, a little Googling, and looking at the packets from other similar seeds that I grew last year to figure out what kind of spacing they need, how tall they're going to be, what kind of sun exposure they need. And then I also wrote down when each of these particular plants should be planted, because some of them you're going to start inside. At least in my area, I live in Missouri, and in my zone the last frost date is like mid-April. So I had to figure that out and figure out, counting backwards from last frost date, when to start seeds inside for different things such as pepper plants and tomatoes. After I got everything written out, I waited for a nice day and I went out with the kids and I actually started measuring out my garden. When I did this, I used some orange spray paint just to try and get an outline drawn so that I knew where the fence was going to go, where the posts were going to go. I had the kids come out and help me, and I'd highly recommend, if you have kids, please get them involved. Have them come out and help you. Have them do the work. First of all, they'll appreciate all of it more. They'll enjoy it. It's good exercise, and it's just a great life skill that I think all of our kids should learn at an early age. The more they know how to be self-sufficient and able to provide for themselves, the better off they'll be in life. So, my kids and I got the old fence taken down. We got the fence post taken out. I waited until a really nice day that was right after a really rainy day. So it was muddy out, but I was able to get all of the fence posts out of the ground by just kind of wiggling them back and forth a little bit, which was so much easier than I expected it to be. Once they all came out, the kids helped me line them up and figure out where we actually wanted them to go. Our old garden was a much smaller footprint. So it had sat like this for over a year, and these weeds grew up the fence, and they really kind of were attached. So that's why we're having to like kind of beat the fence away a little bit to tear up those dead weeds and get the fence loose. I should also mention, winter is the best time to start looking into and buying your seeds. And if you're going to be buying something like apple trees or peach trees or something like that, it's already an established plant, they're going to ship it to you based off of your zone. It's going to ship at a different time. So where I live, we have pretty cold winters, and they're not going to send my apple trees or my peach trees to me until March or April of this year. So I ordered 2 of each, and I'm really excited about them, but they're not going to get here until the spring, which is fine, because I wouldn't want to plant them before that anyway. That's the safest time for me to go ahead and plant them and get them going. And so that's something that the company takes into consideration. Seeds, though, I got those ordered around Christmas time, and I already have all of them in hand, which is great, because last year I waited entirely too long, and when I went to order my seeds and my apple trees, a lot of stuff was out of stock. I wasn't able to get my potatoes. I wasn't able to get my apple trees. I had to change around which varieties of certain things I wanted to get, because what I was expecting to get wasn't available. The way I had my garden set up last year, I had some totes, I had some raised beds, and I also had some stuff in a couple rows in the ground. This year, the totes and the raised beds all need to move. I'm putting them all on the lower end of my garden. The upper portion of my garden is going to be all in-ground beds going from the left to the right. All right, so the winter is the best time to get your garden set up so that you are ready to rock and roll in the spring. And I have been working all day on this with my kids. We've got the new garden plan, and I think it's going to be great. I'll show you. I mean, we just kind of have an outline done right now, and so my husband can come in here and till up everything. We're going to go with the no-till method, but it is recommended for the first year to go ahead and till it. And then after that, you're just going to do cover crops in between, and to do kind of like a living mulch. And but right now, I think it's coming along. It's about 1,500 square feet. It's much bigger than last year. I've got 38-foot rows in this direction, and that's just kind of, I used the space I had, and 50-foot would have been better, but you know, it is what it is. But I'll show you what we've got. So, got the outline. I got the fence post just kind of set in place, because the ground is nice and soft right now, so that was easy enough. But my husband will have to actually get them in place and put up the fence. The rows are going to go in this direction for the first 25 feet, and then they are going to change to this direction. Reason being, we have these big things sticking out of the ground. There's 4 of them. They're for our septic tank, but they made it really hard to plan how to do the garden. So I decided to switch up the rows here. This one's going to be at an angle, but I was able to do totes in between it, and I'll probably do planters on top of them. That way that space is still being used. Same with that one, and those are probably all going to be carrots and onions. But I'm pretty excited about it. That's the only part that's a raised bed aside from the totes. Everything else is going to be straight in the ground, And I think it's gonna be pretty great. I'm excited. So, you know, get out a notebook, figure out how much space you have to work with, draw out a plan. Make sure you put your tallest plants up where they're not gonna shade out your other plants. Like I've got my cucumbers, they're gonna be on a trellis, they're in the back, and I got my tomatoes, they're taller, they're gonna be in the back. You know, try and figure that out. I know south, this direction, so the sun is gonna come up and go down over here. So you got to figure that out so that you have sun exposure to your plants, and you can figure out which ones go where. Other than that, get out, get it set up. I have a beautiful day today. It's February, but it happened to be like 55 degrees out. I think it's actually maybe closer to 60 by now. So it's a great day to get my kids out here and get a little exercise, get some work, get this set up. My husband's working today, but he's off tomorrow, so maybe he can come out and get these fence posts actually driven in the ground and start getting some tilling done so we can get this set up. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's completely free, but it does help me out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.